this is Lachette from Scarlet Moon Creations, and this is going to be my 2019 review video. Um, so if you are new here, or if you subscribe to me to follow my Plan With Me videos, I do, and like annual review and an annual setup. And I'm doing it a little bit differently this year because when I did it last year, the video was really long. So I'm going to break this up into uh, 2 to 4 videos. We'll see how it goes. This video is going over 2019. Another thing, if you're relatively new, this year I've have been doing my Plan With Me's during the dark moon or new moon, so where you can't see the moon in the sky, as opposed to the opposite, which is the full moon. With that being said, that means that a full year passing means that the start of the 2020 lunar calendar for me will be December 26th. So in order to kind of get everything up and going so I can have a January lunar cycle video Plan With Me up relatively soon for you guys, because I do the monthly Plan With Me is during the actual new moon that day, or the dark moon day. I want to have the reviews and yearly plan up before then. I hope that made sense. So anyway, how I do my reviews, I follow Lisa Jacobs, Your Best Year. Now, I'm going to put some stuff up on the screen. I never bought her booklets, but like the physical copies, I always just buy the PDFs, download them, and use them from there. Just really, it's for the same reasons why I don't use pre-printed planners. I never have enough space to answer the questions or to fill in my to-do list or anything like that. Same goes for Lisa Jacobs. And so it just works out for me to just write it out in my bullet journal. So what, unfortunately, Lisa Jacobs, her business was Market Your Creativity. Last year, she kind of decided she was no longer going to be updating that business. So she put out 2 final Your Best Year workbooks. So they were Your Best Year 2018 and for Business edition, and Your Best Year 2018 personal or home edition. And I don't have a printed out version of either. What I do have is the 2017 version. So she made both dateless, and they're pretty cheap and still available both on her website, Market Your Creativity, and also on her Etsy shop, which I think is still open. If it is, I will link it down in the description below, along with her website page. All of her products and services are still available on her website for purchase. You just can't get like one-on-one help from her. Now, the reason I use this workbook is because I found it works for me. I am a small business owner, but I'm also a person. So this might not be for you, but I feel like, particularly the fact since she made the home edition, it's available, that you guys can take something away from this. If nothing else, I planned out my 2020 and I reviewed my 2019 the way that works for me. So I'm not gonna go over the workbook too much in detail, because it is old, even though it's undated, and you can continue using it, as I will. But I will show you what I'm doing now. So, how I do my yearly review using Lisa Jacobs' Your Best Year. Like I said, I just start with a page in my bullet journal and go from there. So, her best your best year workbook works. It has various sections, and there's whole parts of that you're just supposed to read, take in the information, figure out yourself or whatever what works for you. I start off with the State of the Union section, and this water bottle's in the way. So the State of the Union, if I can get that to show properly, all on camera. I hope that works. If not, I'll just adjust. The State of the Union workbook is a portion of the workbook is basically it looks like this. The questions are the same as this. So you start out with what worked for you this past year. Like I said, you're taking in like the American State of the Union that the president does. It's an address to let the regular people, everyday people know what's going on overall in the country. So this is what's overall going on with me in 2019. Now, this is pretty much the same in both the business and home editions. So, like the questions are the same. My answers include both, if that makes sense. So what is working, or what worked this past year for you? This section is the positives to look back. So I talked about my favorite memories of 2019, and I will be doing like memory spread for these. I left a little bit of space because 2019 is not quite over for me yet, so I might put some stuff in here. Because I know of at least there was an event last night that I really enjoyed. I want to add in here, and also there's two coming up for the holiday season that I think might go in as part of my favorite memories. What was time very well spent? Honestly, keeping up with my bullet journal as much as possible was definitely time well spent. The meditations I did, all of the doctor's visits I had, updating my Etsy shop, the pricing, going. It's tedious. It's a lot of work, and I'm glad I broke it up into quarterly things. But that was everything. The reading challenges I did, taking the time to schedule social media posts was also time well spent, and I made a point to put that in the updating Etsy, because these are things that I know are tedious and take time and very repetitive and are hard to focus on and are kind of admin, but they were worth the time spent despite that. Any and all family events, which is why that's mostly what my favorite memories were from 2019, with one exception. Well, three exceptions. The other ones I'm thinking will be favorite memories are all family stuff as well. And setting up my student loan repayment was time very well spent. I have an issue kind of one talking to strangers on the phone, and then I in the past I was very good with my student loan repayments, but recently I have not been, and I felt kind of shameful about that. So this is to let me know that that was time well spent despite that, and I feel good about it in hindsight. What did you accomplish or complete? And okay, then we move on to what was money well spent. Uh, New supplies, all the trips for rituals, because there are times when I'm just like, oh, it costs too much for each trip, but it's worth it. The monthly payments for my student loans and Flickr Pro, which was not something I had before, but they changed their policies for what they'll allow for free accounts, and I was really irritated, and that was an unexpected expense, but I'm glad I did it. Did you make any progress on big life goals? The big thing for me, which will show up many times, this is already the third time, was removing the uterine fibroids from my body, and having a more positive outlook and thought process, which I don't think I wrote down anywhere, but it was there. This was an underpinning for a lot of my year. What felt successful about 2019? Again, removing the fibroids, reading more than my Goodreads goal. My Goodreads goal, I think, was 57 books, and I read 70 plus. The student loan repayments coming up again, reading challenges, planning family events, and signing up for Plenty of Fish, which we're not going to go into right now, but yeah. What did I learn about myself? This was really a lot. And I look back at last year when I answered this question, and it was very helpful to like have this. You get these moments, these kind of like epiphany moments about yourself where it's like you knew a thing, but it wasn't in the forefront of your brain. And there was a lot that, as you could say, like a whole 2/3 of a page, that I learned about myself that I think it was very important. My health has to be a priority. I can speak for myself without trampling over others. I work at a slower pace than a lot of the people that I admire. I want to talk more with my mother. I do not want my Etsy shop to be like the be all end all of my career and business life. That's not it. This was something I really came to a realization recently, and I like the idea of having many different careers in different fields. I desperately miss traveling. I want to have wellness events, and I like knowing about people. As an introvert, I often kind of default to the idea of I don't like people, they're too much, but I do like people, just in certain doses. And also, while I might not be able to do small talk, I do like learning about people without making that an extra thing, like we're friends or anything like that. Yeah. Did you overcome any obstacles? The fear of the pain for the surgery, and also the urge to not rock the boat and just go with whatever all of the doctors were telling me to do, or even my parents or family members. I feel like in one particular case, especially, I really like stood up for myself and was like, look, this is what I want or this is what I don't want. And I asked all the questions I needed to, and it turned out well. Procrastinating with regards to the quarterly shop updates, I really just wanted to push that off every single time, but I did it, and it was time well spent, guys. Having that talk with my mother about mother-daughter time and how well we know each other, and prepping for the Beltane Festival. I was going to give up on that goal to vend this year, but I didn't, and I am happy. So I did this over the course of several days, so you'll see like my daily to-do list sprinkled in between. Next question, who nurtured and supported you? Those who did. And who did you enjoy nurturing and supporting? Another daily, what's not working? This is the next section. Or what didn't work in 2019? First question, what's your biggest challenge this year? What was your biggest challenge? I was going to say the surgery, but I really felt like my phone, it kept tripping me up, and I knew I needed a new one, but for whatever reasons I didn't move to the next step to get a new one, and I still haven't. And from last year, but with less negative feelings behind it, keeping money coming in at a steady pace was an issue. Next, what will you change going forward? I need to be more proactive. And actually, this question I think should come after the what would you or wouldn't you change about how you handled it, the biggest challenge. So I really just needed to sit down, look at my options, contact whoever, look at whatever website, do the compare and contrast, go to find out what I could do to get a new phone. I knew I didn't have a lot of money all at once. I probably could have gotten a new free phone months and months ago, probably at the beginning of the year with no problem, but I didn't. I possibly would have given up certain extracurricular things if I had been thinking about it. Those were not like money wasted, but I would have been okay without those. And I really second guessed myself over the summer. I was thinking I feel like I'm ready to like work for someone else again, and I might need to, but I was like, okay, I'll apply for jobs. I think that was like August, and then September came and the babysitting option came back, and then that didn't really work out the way it did earlier in the year or even last year. So I didn't have the money coming in from that I thought I would. And I was like, oh, I can't, not give her what she needs. And that's a close friend, but I would have been okay. And clearly she would have been okay. So, and yeah, back to what I would change going forward. This is kind of a question for the 2020 pre-planning, but I need to be more proactive, not put things off, remind myself what's at stake, and don't like wait for others or put others first, or depend on others as much. It's not so much depending, it's more like I think of them first and then me after in certain situations. So that's what needs to change. And those same people are willing to help me because I help them, even if there's money being exchanged. What was money wasted? I know I mentioned the extracurricular stuff. I wrote it out here, you can see, but I don't feel like explaining what that is. But it didn't feel like a waste. Somewhat, I feel like I wasted a lot of my mother's money. She lent me money or gave me money quite often this year, and never felt like I owed her or that it was wasted. And she keeps telling me she wants to invest in me and my business more, and just me in general. And That's love, y'all. Um, and it's a real want that she has. Do you have any unfinished business? I still need to do a bunch of things. Do you have any outstanding goals? Of course I do. I don't, looking at how I'm going to be planning my goals this year, I don't feel like I really did a good job, or as good a job as I could have last year. For 2019, I don't think I made my goals as smart as I could have. So there's that. The creating new relationships, paying off all the tax debt, etc., and my annual objectives. Uh, did you keep any bad habits? As a human being, I have tons of bad habits, just like many people do. I didn't go in other than with the idea of not having, not spiraling into negative thoughts. Um, I didn't really have a plan this year written as a goal or just in the background of my head of breaking a bad habit. So I just talk about like some of the ones I have. That I would like to work on. I realized I'm a bit of a know-it-all, especially when it comes to talking with certain people in my life. I want to kind of not do that. I also have like this devil's advocate thing where someone is so sure about one thing and it's not that they're wrong, but I'm like, well, what about this? And what about that? Like, I play the devil's advocate automatically, and this like innate need for fairness and balance, and it's just not always necessary. Twitter and YouTube are the procrastination tools, diversions. I have this weird like contrariness where I make plans. I love planning things out and having things, look organized and everything. And then when it comes to executing the plan, I start it, I get going and everything. And then it's just like, I don't want to be boxed down. I don't want to have to be planned. I want to be free as a bird and not hemmed in by the man, whoever the man is, or by a schedule. I want to fly by the seat of my pants and whatnot. And it's so annoying. I just feel constrained, and so I will consciously not follow the plan after a time because I don't want to be held back by a plan. So if anybody knows what that is, please let me know in the comments down below because the girl needs help. Next, what was your worst setback? Honestly, not using my bullet journal and or talking to people when I got overwhelmed or didn't know what to do. This was a lot. That's probably a bad habit that I kept. I've gotten better at it, but not the best, I guess. I don't know. So, what held you back? The same fears as last year. No money and avoidance techniques. And how did you hold yourself back? I put C above. I am my own worst enemy. People, I know that's like a trite saying, and I know like people, I see like on the internet and other people talk. It's just like, oh, this person is not letting me do this, or general societal issues where there are imbalances. Some are privileged above others, and I'm not saying these things don't exist, but they are not my biggest issues or my biggest problems. It's always me in my head. So that's that. So that was my 2019 review questions. Next, let's just go through and see my annual objectives, what I completed. So this is also, these categories are also from the Your Best Year workbook by Lisa Jacobs, and link in the description down below, by the way. I write them out like this. The ones with the stars are basically the top priorities, and in many cases they summarize what I wanted to focus on in each category. So the first was relational. Create new relationships and strengthen old ones was the basis for that, and I felt I did a great job strengthening old relationships, but not so much in building new ones. So let's see. This is some of the things I talked about for doing that: going on dates, attending munches and other events, visiting friends once a month, calling family every 2 weeks, promoting myself by talking about myself. This was the specific spread that I did for that. And I kind of broke down some of the stuff. I did not volunteer at more events, or same with Convert. Yeah, I didn't do any of that. Family stuff, I met in my home. 3 to 4 meetups outside of our homes. Yes. Call and text several times a week. Yes. We did not go, well, I guess technically I did. I went on a trip. This was a very family focused year. For this side is creating new relationships. This side is strengthening old relationships. I forgot to mention that. So personal, the I I did one thing on here and nothing else. So like no dating or anything. That is going to change hopefully. Friends, I broke them up into categories. Um with my coven, we did our rituals. We didn't go and do very much other than that. Didn't really visit anybody else this year, so I would like to change that very much. So the next category is mental. Stick to daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly routines for 90 days. I did not track this at all. But I felt like honestly overall I did better with the bullet journaling, which is really the routine that I was most concerned about. Read 58 books. I've read 70 plus books, so that is complete. Bullet journal every day. I did not bullet journal every single day, but a lot more than I did last year. Follow this and the systems I created for myself was the other big thing. The not looking for new input, new mentors, like another Lisa Jacobs. The past couple of years I've been like finding new people to follow, new systems and to do and all of that, and like I would get so into learning the system and following what the person on their social media and liking stuff that I wouldn't crack down and do what I needed to do for me. So I did that. Scheduling, self-care in advance, not really. Don't lie. That was hard, and I've become a bit of a liar to hide my supposed weaknesses, and I didn't like it, and so yeah. I just like don't come up with an elaborate story, just say what it is, and that worked out really well. I don't know that I knew how to track that, but I would like to because it was helpful. Physical, the big thing was prioritizing my physical health, which includes my body and the space around me, like my room, my home. And I broke this up into two categories: me, my body, and then the space around me, hence the tree and the me. Get fibroids removed. I did that. I met with the doctors. I did not take this stuff. I didn't need to. Monthly self Reiki. I did not do. Have pride in my physical appearance. Buy new clothes. I did, and I bought sneakers. So yeah, I could put more stuff in here. Plant and grow herbs. That didn't grow very well for me. um, I'm gonna try it again. A lot of the stuff I wanted to repair electronically did not happen. I did fix my dresser drawers again. I need. Did I get my shoes repaired? I think so. I need to get one new boot repaired. Didn't do that. Didn't do that. Didn't do that. This was in the wrong spot, so that's why it's crossed out. I did sell and donate books. I need to do more. Next, we have the spiritual, which I don't know that I have a page for here. Let me just double check. Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't think I made a page for this, so we'll just stay here. Consolidate my spiritual practice. I'm gonna say no, I did not do that. I did focus on things more, but not in the way that I meant here. So that's not a win, so to speak. But devote time and energy, which I definitely did. Keep a clean and dedicated altar space. Somewhat. This is it. And doing the plan with me is every month helped with the cleaning and dedicating. But I don't know. I'm gonna think about that a little more, because it's my personal opinion on whether I succeeded or not. Um, New moon personal rituals, yes. Letters to myself monthly. So that was a big deal at the beginning of the year. And a couple of months in, I didn't feel the need for them anymore. So I didn't need that goal. Copy the Coven Book of Shadows. I started. I didn't finish. We still have some time. I'll check in because it's a whole process. Meet regularly with spirit guides and fairies. So I did for the first half of the year, and then fell off. And then the of the month plants, the color of the month fairy, and song of the month plant allies essential oils. Those are all the of the month plans. These I did because for spiritual reasons, and yeah, I got, like I said, 6 months into it, and then no more. This was August, late August. I just didn't have the energy and the focus just before, during, and then after my surgery, and I'm okay with that. Lastly, I have my financial goals, which I won't go into too much detail. I'm not happy with how this page turned out. The big thing is eliminate worry about bills and expenses. Did not do that. Promote my businesses by talking about them. I did do more of that. And work with Magic Index to improve money relationship. I did more of that in the beginning of the year than the end, but that's okay. And communicate more often. Definitely did that one. That's how the whole phone call with ATSC and another company for student loan repayments happened. That's how, like, my mother wound up giving me money for stuff. And yeah, so that is my review of my annual objectives. Like I said, next time we'll go through and talk about my flip through. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm not really talking about supplies here, so you can find them listed in the description down below. It's not sponsored, the links, they just take you there and you do what you want to do. Let me know how you're reviewing your 2019, if you've done it already. What do you think about the review questions? And the next video will be my 2019 bullet journal flip through. It'll probably come tomorrow, the day after this is up, because I'm trying to film these all at once and get them done. So thanks so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to see that next video. Like this video if you liked it, please. That's very helpful to me, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.